Hey everyone, I'm Sue. Bob's out doing Bob things. This is the first day of sunshine we've had in 4 days, so he's outside. He's going to be cooking chickens. But today is his birthday, so I'm going to bake him a cake. And I know you're all saying, oh my God, you're going to bake a cake in your RV? Well, yeah. Hello, it's the only thing I have. So I'm going to go over just a few things that I've done to make that baking process easier. Now, most of you know we had a smaller trailer before with a smaller oven. It worked slightly different, but the same. So the first thing we need to talk about is going to be the thermostat or the temperature control. Let me show you. In this oven, it's that long bar in the back. That is going to be the temperature control and regulating the temperature for this particular oven. Some ovens have them closer to the top, over off to the side. This one's right in the middle at the bottom. So that kind of changes how this oven heats. So with that being said, there are temperatures that are different throughout the entire oven box. So with this thermostat being right above the burner, that is going to read slightly hotter. Now, a couple of things I do is when I preheat the oven, I use an oven thermometer. Let me show you. Oven thermometer. So you can set it flat or you can hang it. And this is going to allow you to be able to read the accurate temperature inside the oven. Now, when I first started using this oven, which is huge in comparison, okay, so that burner is generally a problem for most people. It centralizes the heat. It's a straight burner that runs through the bottom of the oven. You're supposed to be able to broil underneath it and bake above it. Now, if anybody's tried making biscuits, you know that the biscuits in the middle always get burned on the bottom and they're raw in the center. So, a couple of things that I've learned and done over the years to make that better is one, use unglazed ceramic tiles. That's an opportunity to help displace the heat, and you're going to place them right on top of the metal part of the oven. Let me show you where. So you can see the metal part of the oven. You can tell I've baked some things with some overflowing success. I haven't cleaned the oven yet, but another option to that large ceramic tile is a pizza stone, which I have, and I'm going to place it in now. Okay, you can see that I placed the pizza stone in and that I made sure to keep it away from that thermostat because that's going to change how the oven reads the temperature if I obstruct it or put anything next to it. Another clue is going to be the rack. The rack is specifically cut out to handle that thermostat back there. So I want to make sure that I separate anything from touching that thermostat. So today, since it's Bob's birthday, I'm going to be baking a 2-layer round cake. And I know you're saying, oh, Sue, don't do it. Don't do it. But I have to do it because it's his birthday. Now, this isn't the first time that I've baked a multi-layer cake. The last multi-layer cake was a hummingbird cake, and it was 3 layers. I was learning to use this oven, so cooking time was a little longer because I had to keep adjusting it, and my pizza stone was touching the thermostat in the back, so it changed how it read the temperature. Now, hummingbird cakes typically are nice and moist. This one was dried out just a little, just because of the longer cooking time. But I've mastered that. I've made bundt cakes and 9x13, like sheet pancakes, and other multiple layer cakes in this oven. And so far, so good. I've made casseroles and lasagna and all kinds of stuff Works just like the oven at home. So I'm gonna put in my rack and then we'll talk some more. Okay, so you can see that my pizza stone is not touching the thermostat, and I've raised the rack because I'm actually going to cook one layer on the pizza stone and one layer on the rack, and I'm going to rotate them and change their position halfway through the cooking time. So for me, this gives me plenty of room for 2 rounds. I don't know if you can see that. Some ovens aren't this large, so you'll be forced to cook 1 round at a time, and sometimes you sacrifice how fluffy cake can be. Now you'll notice that there's holes all around the main base underneath the pizza stone. Typically, you do not want to block those. So if you're using a unglazed ceramic tile, make sure you buy one that'll fit within those particular holes. Okay, now I'm going to place my oven thermometer and I'm going to start preheating the oven. So I'm placing it exactly in the center of the oven, and then I'm going to ignite it. Now, a lot of people, if their oven is hard to light, they will make sure that they leave their pilot on. Personally, mine's easy to light, so I don't do that. So thermometer's in the oven. We're going to start preheating now. Okay, you can see my pilot's lit, and that's just, you hold the handle and hit the igniter or the striker switch. You would do the same if it was a manual light where you'd be using a lighter. Now I'm going to turn up the heat, and you see that burner light up. All right, I'm going to close the oven. So a lot of times I'll bake a cake from scratch just because I have all the ingredients. Now I never invested in a big mixer here in the trailer because we are limited for space. I did meet someone, Barbara, however, that had a wonderful stand. It worked like a stand mixer, but it was a little smaller, and she got it from Paula Deen, and it turns, the bowl turns, and the whole 9 yards. So that's an option. For me, I use an immersion blender that has a whisk attachment so that I do egg whites, I do holidays, I can do all kinds of stuff with that whisk attachment, include doing cakes. Thing to remember when you're baking is if you incorporate too much air, it may grow over the sides of your pan and then drip down on the bottom. So hand mixing, based on what the package directions are, hand mixing is always an option. And you can find out equivalents for how many hand strokes 2 minutes on medium speed would be. Okay, it's about 60 hand strokes. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to have a mixer to bake, but your cake may not be as fluffy. Personally, I would rather have moistness over fluffiness. Just a thought. Okay, so Bobby's cake is going to be the infamous Betty Crocker. Thank you, Betty, because she makes everything easier. So on this particular cake, gives you all the directions that you need, and I'm sure you've probably made a cake before. If not, follow the directions exactly. There's even cooking times for different size pans, if you're going to be using a sheet pan or round cake pans, and how to prepare those. And also whether they're dark or light or even glass, the cooking time changes. So while the oven is preheating, I'm going to prepare everything I need for the cake and get that ready. I'll show you little snips of that, but no laughing if it splatters on me. All right, so let's get baking. Okay, so we are at about 8,000 feet where we are right now. We're semi-dry camping. We have electrical hookups at 30 amps, but nothing more. So the 8,000 feet really is the important thing here. because when we're baking this cake, we need to find the high altitude instructions. So they're usually on the package, high altitude. So for our altitude, what we're going to do is add about a half a cup of flour. I'm usually a little sparing. I usually go back to 1/3, but increase our water. It may take slightly longer to bake, but making sure that you add a little extra keeps it from being dough balls in the middle, okay? So you saw I had all my ingredients, and I have my pans, my coveted pans, and it says to grease the bottom and the sides. Now I don't have Crisco, but I am going to use coconut oil. It has a sweeter, lighter flavor and supposed to be good for you. I don't know. And I'm going to do that with just a paper towel and rub them around the pans. And then I can start putting together the cake batter. And then I'm going to check the temperature in the oven. It says what we need is 325 for all of our dark pans. We'll see about that. Sometimes at this altitude we need to raise the temperature to about 350. So not a lot, just a little. We just want to make sure that the cooking time is relatively similar. Okay, I'll be back. Just another thought, when you're RVing, you can't put as much stuff down the drain that you can at home. No garbage disposal. And really getting all the grease out of your trap system and at the bottom of your tank is really hard. So one of my helpful hints is all those paper towels that we wash our hands and dry them with, or that we don't really use at dinner time, I tuck away in the corner. And when I have to clean out a batter bowl, I grab those pre-used dried paper towels and just wipe out all the excess, and then I don't have to worry about what goes down the sink. Just thought you'd like to know. Okay, it's time. We're gonna rotate and change the level of each one of these cake rounds. We're gonna be careful. We don't want to shake them too much. Ooh, looking beautiful. All right, 15 more minutes. So while we wait, just a couple of things. On these gas stoves, gas has been around for a very long time and has always been a very successful method of cooking. So when you have an RV gas stove, it does have a little learning curve. When it heats up right now. And when it shuts off right now. So electric's just a little bit different. But one of the things that they show on this stove is that do not place hot pans on the glass surface. It'll crack the glass. I've never actually had it happen, but I have heard of people having that happen. So I make sure I have my drying racks ready to go. So when I take those cakes out, I don't have to worry about anything else. Okay. So we wait, and we wait some more, and then we'll test them. So I've tested the top cake and it's good to go. So, whoopsie. We're gonna put it on its middle rack. And start letting that cool. Now we're gonna test the bottom one. With a different toothpick this time. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. We can close this oven. Now, if you're gonna do any more baking, you'll just turn your knob to pilot, which is the one that looks like that little flame. And that'll just turn the pilot on. And you won't have anything left to do. So our beautiful cakes are gonna cool on the counter. We're gonna give them about 15 minutes, and then we're gonna turn them out onto the actual cooling rack. All right, it's almost cake time. All right, everybody, we had a little bit of singeing on the bottom of the cake, so I just took a long bread knife and just sliced it off. And some of this stuck to the pan, even though the pan was greased. But just the very, very top edge was a little burnt. I can live with that. So now I'm going to turn it out on this plate and start icing it. I'm going to put the worst layer down first.